I don't know if I should be looking at this from OBS or from Good Vocal or from YouTube, because I'm everywhere. I am everywhere. I'm like savoir faire. I'm everywhere. Let's see. I don't want to stop that. And we're going to go to my channel.
When someone making your chili?
Huh?
So when someone making your chili?
I don't know. Test, test. Listen, just noise, just you in the background. Huh? I don't know. Go back here. Well, I'm just sitting here waiting now to see if anybody is going to join me. If not, show must go on. Show must go on. You will hear my son in the background because specifically at this very moment that I start live streaming, he got hungry because that's what he does. Let's see who I got in here with me. Now, if you are here and you can hear me, because there's only one other person here, I believe, go ahead and say something in the chat so I'll know that I'm coming across, please. Let me go back here. Well, welcome to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce, and today I wanted to dig through the comments that I've been getting on all of the videos, basically since What is the Burn? That's when I made my triumphant return to YouTube. We're not going to talk about my videos before then. And some of them were okay. A lot of them sucked. So, yes, we're going to go into the comment section, see what people had to say on previous videos. Let's talk. We're going to talk a little bit about where we think Discovery is heading. I'm going to try to touch on the Giorgio thing, but we do have a video coming up soon that is going to maybe speculate a little bit more on exactly what we think is going on with Emperor Giorgio. And we know that we're going to see some more of what's happening with her in the very next episode, which is the Sanctuary. So we're all looking forward to that because we see her and Culber kind of going at it, having a tape, and if anybody can out snark Giorgio, it's Colbert. It's Colbert. Okay. So I'm gonna, and I can't be everywhere. I think I've got a stream going on Get Vocal, which is a platform that I use because in the future, maybe I'll have some of you join me in the chat live with your webcams on. And this platform allows for me to be able to do that. It's a very sleek and nice platform. So we've got that one going. And then I've got this YouTube going. And then also on Facebook Live, because there's a Facebook group, just in case you didn't know, for After the Snap. So the fan page, After the Snap, I guess I don't like calling it a fan page because it's kind of narcissistic to think that I've got fans. I've got fellow Discovery sci-fi lovers, fellow Trekkies, fellow sci-fi fanatics. I even like science fact. So it doesn't even necessarily just have to be science fiction. I'm finding that a lot of things intrigue me, and that's another thing that we are going to talk about a little bit more, where this channel is going as far as content, because we know that Star Trek Discovery is not going to last forever, right? I'm also very interested in CBS All Access, The Stand, which is the miniseries that's going to be starting on December 17th. I would like to follow that one episode by episode. We're going to see how that works out for me and us. And also, we're going to do some throwback Trek. We're going to do some Stream Something Sundays, which is something that I've started. It's not going to be Trek. Sometimes it will, because that's the way. Hey, Clarence, thanks. So yeah, that's just the way that things go. We're going to sometimes have Trek, and we're also going to have other one-off sci-fi videos, documentaries, things like that, because I like science fact and I like science fiction, and then I like that blurred line between things. And one of the videos that I did that was about like a blurred line was my most watched and most probably engaged with video thus far this year, which was Confessions of a Time Traveler, the man from 3036. And this was a documentary. I call it a mockumentary, but there are a lot of people who really and truly believe that that this event happened. And if you haven't watched it, it came on Amazon Prime, so it's available on Amazon Prime at this moment. Confessions of a Time Traveler, the man from 3036. It was about a guy named Sebastian who claimed to be a time traveler who traveled here from the year 3036. And he sat down and talked to a gentleman named Jack Helms, who basically, he told this guy everything that's going to be different about the world that we reside in right now, 1,000 years from now. And I had some problems. Needless to say, I mean, it was really an awful. I mean, I can't call it awful. It was an entertaining show. They say that it's a true story. The Nostradamus brothers are the directors behind this documentary, and they say it's a true story. I don't know. You know, these are times where the truth ain't always the truth. There are alternative facts. And I felt like this documentary was one of those things. And boy, people are really upset with me about thinking that. People jumped in the comments on this video and they were not happy, like at all, with Tasha. So I'm gonna read a couple of these because they're funny. You know what? Since I've got this right here, I know I'm all over the place. This is my first time doing a live stream on YouTube, and I'm a little rusty. I did a video called "What is the Burn?" and that was from the beginning, like when I first said, Star Trek Discovery is giving us something to chew on, and I am chewing because as far as I see Clarence is in the chat, as far as what I watch or what I listen to as far as Star Trek goes, I listen to Discussing Trek all the time. Funny story, I know I'm all over the place. This is what I do. Funny story. When before Discovery came out, I was here in Houston. I just moved here. I don't have friends here. I moved here to be closer to my son as an adult, and I was struggling to be anything but a mama. So many miles between my son and I, it just wasn't working out. So I moved to Houston to be closer to him, and I mean close to him, like I moved in with him. So there's nobody to talk to. I don't have friends here. Even the friends that I have back home, nobody's into Star Trek. It is really just me. I was on this island. So I had gotten into podcasts, and I said, you know what? Let me see if somebody is talking about Star Trek. And I found a couple of podcasts, and there's only one that I'm still regularly listening to, and that is Discussing Trek. And he started off as STD, which was hilarious to me. My son's dad used to say, what are you? He would walk by and see that on the screen and like, what are you listening to? But anyway, they were my friends when I didn't have any friends here. I listened quite regularly to Discussing Trek. So I'm saying thank you to Clarence and all of his co-hosts, because I was really alone and they helped me. And guess what? I'm still listening. I'm still a fan. They were there right before Discovery even started, and I have hung in with them ever since. So don't say that, these communities don't mean anything. It means an awful lot, which is, they are the reason why I started, because they have like the Trek story and the Tech story and the Stargate story and the Who story. And so you can imagine all of these different historians, they specialize in something. And I would call myself, for my podcast, the spec historian, because what I like to do is speculate on everything. I like to try to figure out what the next step in anything is. Like even just watching people walk down the street. I wonder if they're gonna step in that puddle. You're gonna go around the puddle. If you go around the puddle, are you gonna go to the left or you go to the right? So those are that's fun to me. Yeah, I'm a weird person. So it is it's no surprise that I do this even with the television shows that I watch, the books that I read, the movies that I follow. If you give me something to chew on, I am going to chew. And this is how I felt about learning that the Federation had been decimated by this event called the Burn. And that is what made me make the video with my thoughts on what is the Burn. So this is one of my first comments that I got. And it was from a listener or watcher, viewer. Yeah, the viewer. It's named Humza Ibrahim. And he said, the Burn is dumb. It makes no sense. Plus, the Romulans don't use the same engine makeup. They use artificial singularity in their engine cores. So the Feds could have copied the Romulans. The Burn is just Kurtzman's way of copying Gene's idea for Andromeda Ascendant. The Commonwealth, quote unquote, Federation is gone, and one ship is used to start the Federation up again. It's lazy writing, using old ideas and renaming, and renaming it. So for those who don't know, because I actually considered responding to that in a video. I was like, well, it does kind of remind you, if this premise is correct. It will remind you of Andromeda, which I never got past the first season of Andromeda. Not because I hated it. It was just because I just didn't, I don't know, I didn't finish watching it. But anyway, in that, the good old days of STD. Thank you so much, Space Spectorian indeed. Thank you, Clarence. But yeah, Andromeda started off, it was a show that I could get into. And basically, it was a ship that was saved from whatever decimation happened in their universe by being in some kind of bubble or, you know, blah, blah, blah. End of the day, they were the only working ship and they were rebuilding their commonwealth. And yeah, so if Discovery had taken this same track, then yes, it would have been a blatant ripoff of Andromeda. But guess what? There is nothing new under the sun. Every trope that has been used somewhere else before. It is how the writers, how the directors tell their story using these age-old tropes that make things exciting, that make a show watchable. So for a person who had never seen any part of Star Trek Discovery, season 3, for them to assume, oh, lazy writing, they just copying Andromeda. If you haven't watched the first episode, how can you say the writing is lazy? Because one of the things that I can say for sure in this this season of Discovery is we've gotten some better writing, in my opinion. There were times last year where we could basically, like checkers, make a move as to what was going to happen next and how it would always center on Burnham. And Burnham would be the person who would step up and everything would have to channel through her. And I am so, so glad that the writer's room realized, hey, we are insulting our audience by doing this. We're insulting the people that we are trying to entertain by thinking everything through for them. Let them make the leaps themselves. And that's what we found ourselves doing. And the conversation is endless. We've been having so much fun in the comments on all of my videos and listening to other people and their ideas. And you know, with me, it's a one-woman show. When you hear a show, going back to the show that I listen to, Discussing Trek, when you hear a show with 4 or 5 different voices and everybody has a different idea, that means that it is giving us a little bit something more to chew on. We are having, to me, a ball trying to figure out what the heck is going on with the Federation. And so yes, those are my thoughts on Humza Ibrahim. He's never commented again, and I doubt that he's even subscribed to my channel. So this was just a person who sees somebody enjoying something and they want to take the joy out of it for them. And I eat people like that for breakfast. I can eat you alive when we start talking this, and you will see this moving forward in these videos. So yeah, I'm going to see early on, it was Dreamwalker. Dreamwalker is one of my subscribers, and Dreamwalker is always the first person to comment on every video. Like, I could put a video up, that bell is definitely on for Dreamwalker. I could put a video up, and inside of 20 minutes, Dreamwalker has dissected and commented. So thank you so much for being the one person that I know is going to chat with me, because that's why I do this. I don't have friends here who deal with Star Trek at all. Nobody here. My son, he might look at my videos from time to time and laugh with me, but he's not watching Star Trek Discovery with me. We have other things that we do, the boys, which I would love to get into in a video series, maybe, and bring him in with me, because that's something we will do that together all day. But he is not watching Star Trek Discovery. So to know that I have at least one person who is going to respond to what I put out there, it gives me somebody to chat with, and I really and truly appreciate that. So early on, we all were thinking, what about the Gorn? Could the Gorn be in control of the Omega molecule? And that was a month ago, one of the things that we were thinking, because they were like haphazardly mentioned in the first episode, and I pounced on it. I think it was thrown out there to make us pounce, and I did it. I got caught up in what I thought Trek wanted me to see. And Trek was like, yeah, we just threw that in there because we knew somebody like you was going to pick up on it. St. Prue, you haven't missed anything. I appreciate you being here. Better late than never. So, yes. And we're going to get more St. Prue. If you watch my last video, one of his observations turned out to be pretty poignant to me, and it made an impact in the way I'm looking at the Federation. I don't really particularly, I'm not right now, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this Federation. And I've got a question. Since you're here, hopefully Clarence is still here too. But, do we remember way back in the first episode, and the guy who waited 40 years for somebody to come and say they were from Starfleet, didn't he think that he was representing Starfleet and that he was representing the Federation, and that he had this flag that was unfurled with 6 member states or member planets in it? So now we're finding out from Vance, kids back here, I swear. We're finding out from Vance that there's like 35. So who's right? Whose word are we taking? Because right now, I'm going to let you know, Admiral Vance's word don't mean a whole lot to me right now, okay? I don't know if anybody else is feeling that way. So let me know your thoughts in the chat. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, that was Dreamwalker, my forever first. Let's see another comment. Dreamwalker again. Loved the premiere episode of the new season. It was one of the most moving endings to an episode I've seen in a long time. The man who was committed to Starfleet all his life, despite never becoming an officer himself, finally meeting an officer, receiving an acting commission, and hanging up the flag. Yes. When I say, let's just say 2020 has been a hell of a ride. So I've just been looking for an excuse to cry anyway. And yes, Discovery, the first episode of this season, oh, I just boo-hooed. It was like happy tears and just, I was just so moved. And yes, that first episode to me was one of the best first episodes of a season for a Star Trek since, I would say, best of both worlds. I really, really enjoyed that episode. Now, Dreamwalker also, because Dreamwalker is going to show up a lot, because I told you, every one of my videos, Dreamwalker is pretty much first. So those other 2 Starfleet vessels didn't respond to hails. I wonder if they're just adrift, or if they're being run by people not affiliated with the Federation anymore, who wouldn't even know what a Federation hailing frequency is. We found out what those the issue with those ships were, and that is that they were destroyed. If I'm reading the room correctly, because for a long time I didn't catch that. Now, if I'm not the smartest person in the world sometimes. Yeah, where's Sahil? Exactly. But I'm not, so I'm looking like those 2 ships were the first 2 black boxes that Burnham found. And that would mean that the ships were destroyed. So That would explain why they weren't answering hails. Everybody is deceased. Nobody's on the ship. And then Book finds this last black box, the third one. So if let me know if I'm getting this right, that those two black boxes are the two ships that Sahil was talking about. I doubt that guy in that first episode knows about Vance and his people. Starfleet is surely broken into a bunch of factions, all stranded in their own places and thinking they are the real Starfleet. So St. Prue, good. That's a good observation. So is this Vance faction? Is that the Vadresh? And it is this Sahil who we were introduced to, and then kind of we've not seen him again. So would he be the one who is more representative of what the true Starfleet and the Federation is? And I'm wondering, hopefully I'm not right about these things, by the way. I like to speculate, but then I might F everybody's life up by being right. So hopefully I'm not right. But it is something that we have not seen Sahil again. So that's something that I've been pondering myself. Like, how many different splinter Starfleet groups are there, and who is the closest to being the Starfleet and the Federation that we know and love from the 23rd century? And let's see. Let me go to another. Let's see. I'll skip that one. And then there was a conversation. St. Prue, we had this conversation about in the comments about why Saru didn't choose one of the more experienced officers as a first officer over Tilly. And I'm coming back to something that Dreamwalker said. He said he didn't think much of it at that time, but now that you bring it up, Reno is being a 32nd century ass to Mr. Hazmat. And that was one of the things that I thought. Like, when you have people who are senior officers, because I forgot that she's even on the ship at this point, but when you have a person who is introduced, an officer who is introduced to a lower ranking individual on the starship, and she's like, I forgot your name already. That ain't the type of person that I would want to be a first officer. I mean, I would be pissed off if the manager or assistant manager of a business did that. Like, I've forgotten who you are already. So what I'm saying is some of these higher ranking officers are so flawed that they are great at what they do, but they wouldn't be the best person to put in charge of other people. They're great at dealing with pieces of equipment, but when it comes to dealing with another person, would they be able to do it in a personable way? St. Prue, you're reading my mind. I think the Vadresh is going to be a little too close to home. Yeah, I mean, and I was looking at the end of, and oh gosh, I forgot which episode it was, but when they were doing the movie night, I was thinking, boy, this looks real. This is some Vadresh type ish right here. They're sitting and they're watching these black and whites. We've already had Zora appear, and we've kind of, so much has happened, we've kind of forgotten about that. And I think that's by design to just keep this story moving. We dropped this little Easter egg here, and now we've forgotten all about it. Now we have to think about it again. Zora showed up. We started looking like the Vadresh, an awful lot like them. So what next? Are we the Vadresh on Discovery, or Sahil? Are they the Vadresh? I want to know. I want to know who the Vadresh may turn out to be, because that was my first question. It came from Calypso. So all the way back last year, before Discovery Season 2 even premiered, we got that Calypso episode and we heard that name. And when I heard it then, I was like, what? And then it occurred to me that, oh, it sounds like the Federation, but it's like he's saying it differently. So that's a syncope, which is a word that I learned this year. I may have seen it before, but I really know what that word means now. And it basically means shortening, or the way that we have changed the pronunciation of a word over time. So now I'm going back through and looking for more comments that I want to focus on. Looking for more comments. There was this guy named Clifford Terrell. And he's a person who I don't think is going to subscribe to my channel. So he's out here, his name is out here. There is this group of people who want to just talk. They don't like Alex Kurtzman. So thus, anything that Alex Kurtzman has his hands in, you cannot like this. They do not want you to like it. You are wrong, and they are going to talk you out of it. And here is where I had a conversation with him. And Clifford Terrell said, were you a fan of Star Trek before STD? Because this show has a 36% audience score from last season. Most fans don't watch soap operas. Piece of advice, you'll get more views if you review something people actually watched. Hint, nobody cares about STD. You really want to go there with me? What? And he didn't spell were correctly. It's like where. Where are you a fan? So I had to let him know, give him a history lesson. I am 47 years old. And Star Trek used to come on when I was a little bitty girl, and I did not like it. I didn't like the music. The music, I think my mom and dad would put that show on to make me go to sleep. So it was Mr. Rogers for a nap. As soon as I heard that music, it was like, I know what they're trying to do. And it was the same thing with Star Trek in the evening. So right around 7 o'clock, I'm like, these people trying to make me go to bed because they put this show on with this music they know I don't like. But they kept doing it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a fool though. I'm going to watch this show. I'm going to stay up. And why did I do that? I stayed up and I watched it. Of course, I can remember how I felt, but I don't remember what episode it was. But I watched it and I was like, I kind of like that. So now they turn the show on. They think that the result is going to be the same that it's always been, which is cause and effect. Cause we turn this show on with this music, and before this music even goes off, this little girl is going to be asleep. Not this time, mom and dad. Not this time. I actually liked the show and continued to watch it. But you have to be quiet about these things. You can't tell them that you like this show because then they'll turn something else on, right? So I'm smart enough to know that I had to keep that part a secret from them. And then we'd be outside playing, and I'd come in and get a drink of water, or we'd come in and get a snack, and I'd hear that music, and it's calling me. But you can't tell your friends, I don't want to play with you because I want to watch Star Trek. I was 50 years old when I was 4. So I've been watching Star Trek for a long time. So Clifford definitely did not read the room correctly, and I definitely read him for filth all through the comments. But one of the things that I'm forgetting, I got two mouses. One of the things that he was like, because I told him, I've been watching this for years. I've been watching all three seasons. By the way, original series was canceled after 3 seasons because nobody was watching it, because people had the exact same problems with the original series that they have about all of the subsequent Star Trek series. The exact same issues, and they started liking it after it was gone. That is the truth. So if the show has a 36% audience score, 36%, that 36% of people are going to want to watch something on YouTube, and I'm going to be there, right there for them. Okay. Then Clifford wasn't done. Clifford still was trying to change my mind. He said, just wanted to save you some grief. There's a lot of hard feelings from the fans. Pointed at Alex Kurtzman. Have you done your homework? Really, he is the main reason people don't like STD. And one more thing, NBC didn't know how popular Star Trek was back then because of poor scheduling. No, that's not what it was. But people cared. How do you think it made a comeback? I'm a Trek fan, but STD is not Star Trek. Maybe Star Wars, but not Star Trek. Anyway, I'm done. STD just isn't intelligent enough for me. Try the Orville. It's a great show and more like Star Trek. And I'm telling Clifford Terrell, I don't like the Orville. And maybe, perhaps, we have different tastes. And I won't say, again, that I hate that show. The Orville, it's for a different audience. It's not made for me. Do I like other silly shit from what is his name? Seth MacFarlane? Yes, I love American Dad. I love Family Guy because that's goofy animated stuff. But then when you dress these people up in these Star Trek outfits and then they still doing the same animated goofy stuff, it's not funny to me. You know, like the example that I gave to Clifford was they went to a planet to watch, I forgot his Bortus, to watch Bortus take a piss. You know, that's something that I would expect to see in Family Guy or American Dad, but not on a live action show. It was not. It was a different kind of humor, and I considered it very low hanging fruit, and I was not amused. St. Prue says, back in 1987, when TNG first came on, hardcore Star Trek fans trashed it, just like they do Discovery now. Same with Enterprise 20 years ago. In the future, Discovery will be regarded as real Trek, just like TNG. And I am 100% with you. Like right now, you know, people who have actually given the show a chance and have said to themselves, based on the show itself, the merit of the show, I either like it or I don't. I'm 100% on board with having an opinion. What I don't like is I don't like this show because of who is involved in it. And I don't want you to like it either. And I'm going to keep needling you until you don't like it. That's not fair. It's just like cancel culture in general. And this is now going into something entirely different, but it's relevant. Look, you don't have to agree with me politically on everything. You don't have to agree with me, you know, what you do in your personal situation, as long as it's not directly hurting or injuring someone else. That is your prerogative. If your job is to entertain me and I am entertained by what you do, then I am your intended audience. You understand? So to try to get other people to talk other people into not joining this cause and not liking something because you don't like it, I feel like that's rather juvenile, and it's actually destroying entertainment. And I might lose a friend or two by saying it. But so, like for instance, I am also watching The Mandalorian. And I don't know, Gina Carano, she said some things that might have gotten a bunch of people's panties up in a bunch. So she said some things. She has some unpopular opinions, but she also has a job. So her unpopular opinions, even though they're amplified because she is a celebrity, they're hers. How well does she do her job? Is she a believable character in The Mandalorian? If the answer is yes, that lady should keep her job. Period. Just because she has a political opinion that's different than mine does not mean that she don't deserve to eat. Or if she has children or a family that has to feed, that she doesn't deserve to be able to do that in a show that I watch. That it's unfair. It's unfair. Now, I think Star Trek has done a pretty good job of kind of vetting who they have in their shows. We haven't had this type of controversy inside of Star Trek yet, and I hope we never do. But please, every day that I go into a store, or people come into the store that I work in, because I work in customer service. So if people come in the store that I work in, looking at me, even if they watch my videos on YouTube and don't like some of my sentiments, are you going to petition to have me lose my little bitty job at this convenience store because we have a difference in opinion? No, you're going to come in and buy your beef jerky and your can of snuff. You're still going to pay me your money because it's not going directly to me. All I am is a conduit of the person who puts the money in the register. That's it. I'm nobody. And that's the exact same way we should look at this cancel culture thing. It's just, let these people eat. We don't have to support it. And if you feel that strongly about something, I mean, only if it is not directly injuring someone. So this Amber Heard thing with Johnny Depp, I think they had a toxic relationship and they did shit to each other. Does that mean that neither one of them should eat? I don't think so. But if either one of them hurt one another to the extent that that the injury is irreversible, that it's something, and because I believe this was a toxic relationship. It wasn't just Johnny Depp being an asshole and beating on Amber Heard, and I don't think Amber Heard was just being a bitch and beating on Johnny Depp. I honestly believe that they were in a mutually abusive relationship. And if they liked it for as long as they were together, who are we to now say neither one of these people can work again? But now I'm going off on a tangent. Let me know how you feel about cancel culture in the comments. I'm going to go on and talk about Clifford some more. So Clifford said, if you like Star Trek Discovery, it's a no-brainer that we have different tastes. Look, I care about the science and technology, and I don't really care about the emotional themes. My mind likes tactical situations, which Star Trek was focused on in the past. Really? I'm okay with us disagreeing about Star Trek Discovery, but you're still writing me messages. I will not support Alex Kurtzman. He has just destroyed too many franchises. And I said, thank you. I still watch an occasional episode of The Orville, but I'm certainly not their target audience. I don't get why fans think it has to be one or another, or why they think that because they don't like a show, that nobody should. I'm glad we can connect over Disco Mary. Oh, I forgot. Mary. Oh, Mary is another one of my newer subscribers, and she jumped in and she had my back when I was talking to Clifford. I'm not going to give Clifford too much more of my energy. Clifford was just fun in that moment. I had to engage. I had to engage with Clifford for just a little while because I had time that day. He was talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2 and it's so much. Okay. Then we going back to Confessions of a Time Traveler, the man from 3036. A gentleman named Nick at Night said, this is definitely the year of believing in conspiracy theories. If this film was made and released before 2020, I think it would be freaky. But it was released in July of this year when everything already happened with the pandemic and the whole 5G thing. So one of the things in the movie Confessions of a Time Traveler, the man from 3036, was that 5G was just going to kill so many people. And again, this is something that, you know, it's a conspiracy theory. There has been nothing that has substantiated this and made it a fact. And at the same time, this person from 3036 also set off all of the problems for 1,000 years from now. And I'm calling BS. This is a pandemic for sure. And people are losing their lives, and people are getting ill, and people will be affected for years to come over what is happening right now in 2020. This is going to be something huge in our history. So when our little grandchildren, mine at some point, whenever my son, if, but that's a whole different story too. If I ever have grandchildren, this is going to be part of their history book. So just like my niece has 9/11 as part of what she's learning in United States history, world history has been made this year with this pandemic. And it's just an awesome thing, not that it's happening, but that we are here. We are bearing witness to what is being done well and what's not being done at all. But to think that in 1,000 years, that this would be a defining moment for our culture where it began to deteriorate, where getting a vaccine, because this is one of the points from the movie, the vaccine for COVID-19 would become the thing that makes you able to buy and sell, or you would have to get this microchip in your hand in order to buy and sell. And the microchip is supposed to be the vaccine. And if you don't take this microchip in your hand, then you have to live beneath the cities. Now, it all sounds very Book of Revelation, and it all sounds very apocalyptic. And I cannot be convinced that this pandemic will be the thing that carries on for 1,000 years. But there are people in my comments who kind of argue with me that this is absolutely what's happening. And I'm almost afraid. I'm really almost afraid for these people, because it's like, you could please stop believing everything that people say are true. One of the examples I gave in that video is that if I told you I was twins with Beyonce, would you believe it just because I said it? You looking at me. You know I'm not, you know I'm not twins with Beyonce. So we have to be smarter than what we're doing right now with with these alternative facts. And I'm going to leave that at that. Okay. We talked a bit about the problems that we had with Adira in the episode, what was the name of the episode? Forget Me Not. In the episode of Forget Me Not, I had an issue with Adira. I felt like they were making her, the writing made her too wishy-washy. And St. Prue was saying, it made me understand and realize that Adira is just a kid. She was 16 years old. So yes, this situation was bigger than what anything that she's probably experienced outside of getting this symbiont put in her. You know, this was her first, I'm going to say first love experience with Gray at 16 years old. And then I started feeling kind of funny about that. Like, when I was 16 years old, had I had my first kiss, I guess that happened late in my 16th year. So to just think that somebody would be so deeply in love like that, yeah, it kind of made me feel some type of way. But the fact that she's a kid, and all of these really grown-up things are happening around her, I guess I can understand it. I can understand the predicament that she was in. It wasn't something, you know, I can get emotional and be wishy-washy, and I'm grown as hell. so yes, that was one thing that I'm kind of glad that that St. Prue called me on. Now let's see where else we're talking about. Something else. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Something else that was picked up and then dropped was Tilly talking about creating a dark matter interface to make the spore drive go instead of using Stamets as the human conductor of this thing. They were gonna try to do a dark matter interface. And anytime you say dark matter, it just makes me feel like no. So the whole dark matter interface kind of worries me. And Dreamwalker said the same thing, that he was worried about this dark matter interface, but we've not heard anything else about it. And it makes me wonder if that is something that's going to come back a little later. Again, all of these threads had been picked up and dropped, and for the most part, if these comments didn't exist, I'd probably have forgotten about it. So thank you guys for keeping me on top of my game. St. Prue says, I joke around sometimes that Star Trek has self-opening doors and voice-activated computers because they live in a touch-free post-pandemic world. Yeah, we might be headed that way. We might be closer to Star Trek than we think because of this pandemic, because I'm seeing all kinds of creative ways for people, again, working in the public and seeing people want something but not want to touch it. Like a gentleman the other day, he wanted me, he didn't want to hand me his cash. He's paying with cash. He didn't want to hand me his cash. He wanted to lay it on the counter, which I was fine with. Then I pick the cash up and, then I make change. And then he's like, can you put it on the counter? Now, this has happened to me before when I was, this has happened to me years past, but those people were racist and they just didn't want to touch my hand. Now, I don't think that was this case with this guy. I honestly believe that he didn't want to make physical contact with me because he didn't want to contact another person. But yet you're walking around with this nasty ass money that's been everywhere. And I'm like, sir, I don't mind putting it here on the counter, but do you realize people touch this counter and the next guest walks up before I can spray it all off? The next guest walks up and they touch it as well. And money is the absolute nastiest thing on earth. It's nasty. At some point, we're going to have to go to a paperless society where we are not having this freaking money because it's nasty. I'm afraid because I handle money all day long, and I'm worried that one of these times I'm gonna eat a piece of candy or something and forget to wash my hands in between. This money is disgusting. But neither here nor there. You may be right, St. Prue. This may be where we're headed. Star Trek, I'm ready for it. I am ready. Now let's see who else. St. Prue, you told me in one of your comments that you were pretty much you're in the same age range as me. So we are both equally moved by the same things in these episodes, and that made me happy. Now, people were telling me to get into John Teeter, a time traveler from I think he was from 2036. So a whole 1,000 years before the Sebastian guy. And I've heard of John Teeter, and I am thinking of covering him on one of my Stream Something Sundays if I can find something streamable. Or I'm also going to have one called Science Fiction or Science Fact, and I'm thinking I will cover him. So that may be coming. Mary, she cried a lot during the Forget Me Not episode as well. So I, again, don't feel like I'm alone. And then here's one me. telling everybody, hey, I'm working 11 at night till 7 in the morning now. I used to work from 4 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon, which means that I had all day to work on episodes and all this stuff. And now things have changed. Things have changed dramatically. And my internal clock is not caught up with this crap yet. But yeah. Now, Dreamwalker and I disagreed on something, and that was that Giorgio's interrogation was a bad part of the episode in the Die Trying episode. Now, what he said was that she should not have known how to handle the 32nd century holograms by this blinking that she did. But one of the things that I'm going to touch on, and I'm trying to, I can't rein myself in. Sometimes I start talking and then it just word salad. But one of the things I'm going to touch on is, are we sure Giorgio has never visited any other timeline? Are we certain that that year, the same year that Control and we learned about all this time travel and blah, 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 are we certain that while she was working with Section 31, that she hadn't moved around a little? And by moved around a little, I mean in different timelines, not just moving around to different areas. Had she jumped around to different timelines? And maybe her body is out of flux. But I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to get into it too much because I do want to put that video out. So, you know, if you do want to chat about that in the chat, I'm all for it, because it may be something that you all say that that I'll add to what I've got already for that Giorgio video. And Jimmy Dean liked the fact that in that video, in the Die Trying, I said, now if you kill me, there's no friendship after that, because, you know, I'm a poet. Once you kill me, I can't be your friend. And Culber was okay with his murderer. Now, I'm going to cough, so excuse me. Sorry. CJC 3636. Burnham having a year to rediscover her humanity has made the character pretty cool now. She smiles and laughs. Dialing down the Vulcan stoicism has helped, and I think it has improved the character in a way. It made the character more interesting. We don't, you know, we thought we knew Burnham, and we thought we knew what her angle would be with the whole Vulcan. She was trying so hard to keep the Vulcan stoicism, as CJC said. But then we saw a very human acting Burnham, and now we're seeing a Burnham with nuances. And I kind of like this Burnham because, again, she's becoming a regular person. She has become a regular person. She still has the same personality, so she hasn't lost herself, but she has found other layers of herself. And I think we could thank Book for that. I think that her running around with him for that year really gave her depth that she didn't have on the star. She would not have gotten on the starship. She wouldn't have. Number 2 from CJC, Dr. Culber is a real ship's doctor now. I agree. In one of my videos, which Star Trek doctor could cure COVID, I said, hey, Dr. Culber doesn't have a body of work. The only person I've ever seen him diagnose is Stebbins. That was like a couple of weeks ago. Oh, that was, a couple of weeks ago. Now, this couple of weeks have gone by, and I'm like, now Culber, all of a sudden, yeah, I'm starting to think maybe he could cure COVID. So yes, he has become a real ship's doctor over these last couple of weeks here. And number 3, Stamets and Jet Reno are just gold, along with Tilly. Reminds me of the Spock McCoy verbal joust, but different. And I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan. Individually, yes. As a collective, I'm not 100%. I didn't dislike them. I like the fact that they came up with the answer to that CME in the People of Earth episode. Was that People of Earth? Yeah, the People of Earth episode. But not a fan. Not a fan. No, that wasn't even that episode. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Now, the tech of the Future Federation looks built in with the 3D overlays, holograms everywhere. Overall, I think the producers, writers, actors now know their characters, and now it shows. And I agree. These characters are now getting personalities. I want to see more from the rest of the bridge crew. I want to see the way they. I want to see how they are, not just being the yes people on the bridge. I want to see, more of Reese and more of Bryce and Detmer and Nilsson. I'm about 10 years older. St. Prue. I'm about 10 years older. Close enough. Started watching TOS right after it was canceled and went into syndication. Fandom has changed so much over the years. You are so correct, St. Prue. Clarence says, I don't think it's Giorgio. I think I'm thinking what you are. And that Sonequa Martin Green is amazing and team dysfunctional. Yes. I'm trying not to, because again, I'm a dysfunctional person myself. I'm all over the place, but something about them as a unit just doesn't do it for me. Now, Sonequa Martin Green, her face, just the story she could tell with just her expressions. I am so amazed at how she emotes. And I'm very, very interested in seeing more from this character. So she's supposed to be in Space Jam with this new Space Jam with LeBron James. And I think she's supposed to play his wife. And I'm gonna like to see how does she dial it down when she's starring with LeBron James, who is not particularly an actor. And oh God, is LeBron James going to do better than Michael Jordan? I love Michael Jordan, by the way. I'm from Gary, Indiana, which sits right outside of Chicago. So I grew up a Chicago sports fan. The Bears, the Bulls, not so much the Cubs, the Sox. I didn't start liking the Cubs until, we started seeing a trajectory, but that's a whole different podcast, right? So yeah, so Michael Jordan was you could tell this was his first time in front of a camera doing a movie. Unlike Kobe Bryant, who seemed to me to be at home in front of a camera, Michael Jordan seemed to be a little wooden, and I hope we don't get wood from LeBron James. Not when you're next to Sonequa Martin Green. Because oh my gosh, she's gonna have to turn it down if he's not that kind of actor. I've been going for how long? An hour. We're gonna get some more comments. Like we were talking, because we haven't even gotten to Kovic. I don't remember even how I'm saying his name. Sometimes I say it one way and sometimes I say it another. But the who is Kovic idea is that's a hell of a question, because there are those of us who believe that he's Section 31, and those of us who believe that he is a bigger part of the Federation, and then there are those of us who believe that he may be Terran. And I'm still riding my whole Section 31 thing, and someone pointed out that he was messing around with those glasses quite a bit. Now, who was it? That he was messing around with those glasses quite a bit in that episode. And I'm like, yeah. So what if that was when he was doing something to her? Let me see. CJC, he couldn't even decide which one. Oh gosh. And then someone, and I love this type of thing too. Someone just said they love my diction and brevity. And now sometimes like brevity is editing. I'm never brief. And I think you guys are seeing that as I'm live. But I do enjoy hearing that when I want to, I can speak. So thank you. Dreamwalker said Giorgio had asked Kovic who was really in control. So he's wondering if because she used the word control, was it a hidden reference to Kovic now being control? And that is something, again, something to think about. That was Jim 405 who said Kovic was a hologram. His glasses are a 32nd century mobile emitter made out of programmable matter. Perhaps he's the new control. So everybody has a theory about Kovic, and we still ain't got no answers, none. I'll be glad when we get something, but right now we got nothing but a bunch of speculation. Mind you, I love that. But and then Timothy Kelly said to me, a sister girl that's a Star Trek nerd. LOL, I like it. If you ever make it down south, I'll cook you some fish and grits. I am about as south as you're gonna get. I'm in Houston, so, and I love fish and grits. Love it, love it, love it. So Mr. and I, Mr. D, he said that he thinks that Section 31, Kovic is Section 31 as well. And he was very excited about Unification Part 3, which we haven't even gotten to yet. St. Prue says, I would like Reese and Bryce to have more to do. Discovery has such a big cast. It might be hard to fit everyone in, but still keep the story moving. So yes, if it's going to take away from the overall story just to give these people things to do, then of course, don't do it. But we're using the exact same people every episode. So if we could have just used some extras and just had a different extra in there. If you guys weren't going to tell us about these people, if we're not going to make them three-dimensional, then why use the same actors over and over? we could have anybody on that bridge. And so yes, I want to see Reese and Bryce become more. I want to see what they do when they're off duty. Give me Kim and oh God, how am I forgetting? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Give me those two. Give me some holodeck action. Even though yes, it is a commonly used trope, and yes, we've always had a pair of guys go in the holodeck and get into a whole world of trouble. But imagine being two young guys thrust into or damn near 1,000 years from the world that you knew. If you guys had access to a holodeck, which I'm understanding there are holodecks now on Discovery, if you had access to a holodeck, wouldn't you relive some of the stuff that you did in the holodeck? Wouldn't you? I would, and I'm not a guy. Guys, you guys are far more imaginative than I am. But I would definitely go back and relive my heyday in the holodeck. And Clarence says maybe feature some of the bridge crew and short treks as well. And that's what, yes, we have all of these different platforms to give these characters depth. And they did it with Tilly. You know, we saw Tilly's mother. We found out how she felt about her hair, how her mother coddled her and talked down to on her dreams. We learned a lot about Tilly in that one short trek. As the same way with Saru, we learned an awful lot about Saru in that short trek. So yes, we have the platforms to round these characters out. So let's do it. Let's do it. And we can make short treks a little longer than 3 or 4 episodes. I'm just saying. I like them. Let's see. Let's see. We were speculating on what was going to happen with Burnham because I was so convinced that she was going to leave Discovery because real life Sonequa Martin Green was pregnant. So she just recently had the baby, I believe, in October. I believe, don't quote me. So I believe she had the baby in October. So production for season 4 started in November, and I'm thinking, well, maybe she's going to take a little bit of time off in between having the baby, and this is what I would do, of course, between having this baby and coming back on set of Discovery. So to explain her absence, we'll say that she left the show, you know, she left the ship. So that was my thought process as to why, besides the fact that they were laying the groundwork for her to feel like she was not part of the Federation or Starfleet anymore. But then I'm like, okay, real life, this would make sense because she has this baby. But all of that got turned on its head when she said, oh, I'm here for the duration. So Reinhardt, St. Prue, all of you guys making me or calling me on it, saying, hey, are you just speculating or is this fact? It was all speculation on my part. And I did address that it was all speculation, but I also had that real world reasoning behind it. And we talked about, of course, Tilly becoming first officer, and we had we had differing opinions on why she shouldn't be, namely that there were more officers who were higher ranked than her. Yeah, on the show. So why would they do that with her? And the explanation was okay with me. I'm good with it. I think all of us regular people are good with it. It was a faction of people. You should have seen the comment sections on some of these the blogs that I was reading. Those people were downright angry. And I'm like, are y'all for real over a TV show? You got to be kidding. Yeah. So that was funny. What else? And we all talk about together how the fandom has been, again, like St. Prue says, has changed over the years. People just have become so toxic. There, I said it. People have just become so toxic. St. Prue, one of the things that you had mentioned in my unification theories and speculation video was you were like, do you think our Discovery crew will have already been briefed as to who the Romulans even are before going, or at least will be surprised to find they are a Vulcan splinter group? Your question was answered because yes, you saw the shock and surprise on Burnham and Saru's faces when they learned that the Romulans, who at this point nobody had ever seen the Romulans, and they learned that they were an offshoot of the Vulcans. So yes, your question was answered, and they did a decent job addressing that and just moving on like it was nothing, you know. Let's see. Now, Geek Filter says that for in my unification theories and speculations videos, he said, thank you for pointing something out that I've been saying since the episode first came out in the 90s. Why would anyone jump to the conclusion that Spock was defecting? And that is one of my questions as well. Like, why would they think that Spock was defecting? Why? But I guess it made the story go. It made the story go. A similar situation in Voyager with Chakotay and B'Elanna. Yes. They kind of grew. We got an opportunity to see growth. Even though I never thought they did right. I never thought Chakotay got he didn't get the treatment. He didn't get there was something that was still unknown about Chakotay. He was just there to me, and I didn't like that. And then St. Prue, he says, I love how they did it. But too, Burnham's reaction was priceless. Yes, they resolved our questions, our fears. I had actually forgotten that nobody had seen the Romulans just yet. So yeah, I was happy that they addressed it, and I was happy that you had brought it up beforehand. And then Clarence, this is where you saw me wearing y'all shirts. See, yeah, I'm full of surprises. Yes, but that's another thing. I'm gonna support now. It might be 2 hours of work for me to get that shirt. I had to work 2 hours for you to see me in that shirt. But you know what? You guys, I've said it. You guys, y'all brought me through. It was kind of dark. I didn't have nobody to talk to. I wrote y'all the longest fucking emails because I was just happy. And then I don't want to like alienate anybody, but they have a diverse little group of people who talk about Trek. The ages are different. The races are different. It is like Trek, you know. And outside of that, though, I was happy that it was some brothers talking about Trek. So yes, I have listened to other shows where there's a lot of shows with white hosts, and no, not knocking, but the beauty of having different opinions based upon different experiences is, you know, that is what I was getting from discussing Trek. All the other shows that I listened to, it was kind of echo chambers of realities of how a person lived. And yeah, we all might live in the same general area, but our experience is different. And you can hear the difference in experience in the show on discussing Trek, not just Discovery, but in discussing Trek. So I'm not trying to like force anybody. I'm not that type of fan, but I with discussing Trek. So I'm going to always rep them. They did a great job in giving me somebody to bounce ideas off of, even if it was in long, crazy emails. So, and then Mr. D, because I can't say the name, and hopefully I'm not offending you by not being able to pronounce it. He also thought Kovic is Section 31, and he also said that Kovic is doing something weird with those glasses. And he said he think he put Giorgio under some sort of suggestive hypnosis and is going to use her like some sort of sleeper agent. So Mr. D says that basically Giorgio is a Manchurian candidate, and not 100%. You know, it's possible, because anything is possible. You know, there is nothing impossible when we're talking about a fictional TV show. So I am going to definitely keep my eye on again, COVID, because I need to know what is it? What is he doing? Let's see. And then I asked the question for Unification Part 3, and I guess I'm wrapping up now. What did you guys think of the Unification 3 episode of Star Trek Disco? What questions are you most interested in seeing answered in our last 6 episodes? And Dreamwalker said, for Burnham, it was either stay on with Starfleet or deal with her mother's continued absolute candor on Navarre. I understand her choice. And that, to me, made me laugh. It tickled me because I was like, yeah, I don't know how much truth I could take. Her mama was like, truth after truth after truth. And yeah, that was hurting. That hurt that child. Oh, and then Dreamwalker also said, remember when Detmer was having head troubles? Was that really resolved by counseling, or did what she have get into Giorgio somehow? Now, I believe that she really had a concussion. I believe we were meant to think that it was more, but that she really had a concussion, and now she is really dealing with the effects of PTSD. That's the way I feel. I do not think it's resolved yet. I think she will be having counseling for some time behind what she's gone through. Even though we see her like doing some cowboy shit in this next episode of the previews. If you guys not seen it yet, I don't know. Shoot, I can't talk about it right now because I don't remember every little bit. But yeah, she was doing she did some reckless type things. She was like, what I'm about to do might get us both killed. So she might be back to Detmer. She might be. Angus Osano said, we might still get the human Captain Killy. This is definitely possible. The bricks are being laid for that. And I'm asking, like, what is Grudge? And our friend Mary says she also believes that Grudge is more than a cat, maybe a shapeshifter. St. Prue says, I hope Grudge turns out to be like Gary Seven's cat in the original series Assignment Earth. Wouldn't that be funny? That actually would be hilarious if that's what happens, because it could happen. It could happen. Yeah, what's his name? Vance. I am not a fan. I'm not liking this dude anymore. He's turning out to be somebody that I'm uneasy about. And St. Prue says the same thing. He says he knows more than he says, and that the Vulcan president did an admirable job biting her tongue. And I thought I noticed that as well. Like she acted like she knew something, but she didn't want to, she didn't want to be the one to break the news to this ship. Oh, St. Prue, your battery is dead. See you later. Okay. And I'm about to wrap it up here. My battery ain't dead, but I'm hungry. Let me see if there's anything else. The last thing I wanted to do actually was go to my videos, and I'm gonna pick a winner of a t-shirt from people who left comments, and there was only 20 comments on the Unification Part 3, the Unification Part 3 video. So if you left a comment, you are in the running. I'm going to give away a t-shirt. I don't know which t-shirt I'm going to give away just yet, but let me see. I'm going to find, where's the thing that says pick a winner, pick a winner. So I'm using TubeBuddy. And right now, it's going to randomly, from those comments, pick a winner. So good luck. And if you're listening, or if you listen in the future and your name comes up, I'm just going to need you to email me at afterthesnap@gmail.com to claim your prize. If you'd like the prize. So here I go. And the winner is St. Prue. So, yes, because the comment that won was, and another thing, sorry to keep spamming. He thinks he's spamming me, but I'm really enjoying these conversations. That hearing or trial or whatever was about as logical and scientific as a Trump COVID-19 press conference. And I think that was the point. Everything politicized, everything a zero-sum game, everything a PR crisis, and a unity on the verge of flying apart. Star Trek has always mirrored the world it was produced in. And what a comment to be the winning comment. That was so. St. Prue won, not even here to hear. But and I guess I'm gonna wrap up, huh? I had fun with my how many people? 2? But I enjoyed talking to you all today about the comments and everything that we've learned so far in Star Trek Discovery. And I appreciate everybody for subscribing and getting me to 100 subscribers. Right now I'm at 111. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Oh my, it's like I got, okay. So thank you so much for your support. And I'm going to continue to try to put out these episodes in a way that makes sense and in a way that you guys would like. And if there's anything you'd like for me to talk about, you guys can use these comments, or you can hit me at afterthesnap@gmail.com. And we'll do this again at 200 subscribers. I'm going to do it again before then, probably, because it's no telling how long it's going to take me to get to 200 subscribers. But I am going to definitely do another giveaway at 200 subscribers. So keep commenting. You never know which video I'm going to choose to use as my how I choose my winner. I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. And live long and prosper. Peace.